blackouts, power grid attack. Prepare in advance for the unexpected. This is what the Lord is saying. The Lord says, I am giving notice on the upcoming blackouts, which will simultaneously hit in different areas of the world. The Lord says the blackouts are coming because my light is fading in the world of darkness. God says initially, not everyone will be affected, but at some point in time, events, calamities, and disasters will lead up to a major world blackout. God says these blackouts are not without meaning, however, because they have spiritual and physical implications, which I will use to wake you people up in the world. The Lord says the blackouts that will come are not uncommon in the earth. They have happened before. But in the upcoming days, I will allow them in hopes that the people will see the spiritual and physical significance of the blackouts as to help my people take heed to my warnings that will come. God says the physical implications are that the blackouts will happen suddenly across multiple cities and states. And if you are not prepared, there will be suffering, there will be loss, there will be challenges, and there will be hardships. God says the spiritual implications of the blackouts are far more serious because many will be caught off guard. Therefore, the purpose of me allowing the blackouts is to show you how easy it will be for many of you to die in your sin because you didn't expect to see the blackout coming.
This is day 2 of no power. Things are definitely heating up. There's no gas to be found. I found one grocery store about 30 minutes from my home that had food. They have no ice, no water. There's no gasoline to be had. You can't get cash out of the ATM machine. They are taking cards, thankfully. There's also no bread. The shelves are already looking bare. I went in and got quite a few items.
Okay, please give me 5 minutes to talk to you about geography because we need to understand the scale of what's going on. This is the state of North Carolina. This is the area that's without power still. This is also the state of North Carolina. This yellow outline is the country of Belgium that I've overlaid for scale. Okay? This is the scale. 230,000 customers without power means households. Based on US Census data, the average household size here is about 3, which means we're talking about 600,000 to 700,000 people who have not had power for a week. That is an emergency by itself. If you don't have power for a week, then if you had food stored in the freezer, no, you don't. If you had breast milk, insulin stored in the fridge, no, you don't. You don't get to run your CPAP machine. 750,000 people without power for a week should make headline news by itself. But power outages are unfortunately one of the mildest of problems. Water is also out. Cell coverage is out. If you're seeing people posting from this area, there's a good likelihood they're having to drive miles to do that. And that is if they have a car that wasn't destroyed, if they can get gas somehow, and if they have roads they can drive miles on. These are the road closures. Okay? And these roads are not closed because there's some water on them. They're closed because they look like this now. Right? This times this. That's the scale. The reason the roads look like that is because this is the
But it's the look in her eyes that I can't forget. Last night, somebody was at the river and just looking at the destruction and cars upside down, and saw Halloween costumes floating down our river. And then she saw faces and realized they weren't costumes. She said, I've seen bodies and I'm not okay with that. And then somebody called and said, when is somebody gonna come collect all the bodies that have piled up along the embankment of the river? And then a man called saying, I need 911 at my house. And somebody said, why? Are you okay? And he said, yes, I'm okay. But I opened my front door and there are several bodies in my front yard. This is the stuff I'm having a hard time with. Because I want to make it better for everybody and I can't do anything.
It has been more than 1 week since Hurricane Helene crashed ashore, and the full extent of the damage the storm caused is still unknown. Helene is being blamed for at least 225 deaths in 6 southeastern states. Nearly 700,000 homes and businesses are without power, and about 1.8 million people are living in areas under boil water advisories. In hard-hit Asheville, North Carolina, authorities say they are actively looking for 75 people who are unaccounted for.
This is downtown Marshall, North Carolina. It was swallowed by floodwaters, now coated in mud and debris, which may be hazardous.
It's heartbreaking to everything we had in that house and all the memories we had with our kids.
Marshall, according to the North Carolina flood map, had just a 1% chance of flooding. Only 98 properties in the county had flood insurance, out of more than 8,000. The number of North Carolinians who purchased flood coverage this year fell 2.5% from last year. Out of more than 4 million properties across the state, the number with flood policies is just over 115,000. About an hour east of Marshall, in the community of Old Fort, a satellite image shows the water's tortuous path. Nearby at the First United Methodist Church, Pastor Kimberly Baker and volunteers are cleaning mud by the barrelful. In spite of it all, they are counting their blessings.
What do people need right now? They need water. They need a hot meal like this. It's being delivered by volunteers across this region. While power is slowly coming back on, most people don't have it. The real problem right now is water. Estimates for water resuming in this area start at 4 weeks.
But just for the history books, we've only had 10 Category 5 hurricanes in our recorded history in the Gulf of Mexico. And we're looking at one of them right here, this little pin eye. It's a small storm, but it's extremely intense. The eye is only 10 miles wide, and that's where these 160-mile-per-hour winds are. Yesterday at this time, it was 60 miles per hour. It has increased 100 miles per hour in 24 hours. That's only happened once in our recorded history with Hurricane Wilma. And, of course, that also hit Florida. So
at 3 feet above normally dry ground, water is already life-threatening. It's too late to evacuate. Water this high can knock you off your feet, make cars float, and driving impossible. The first floor of homes and businesses are flooded. Unfortunately, the water is expected to rise even higher at 6 feet above the height of most people. Vehicles get carried away, structures start to fail. Just look at this. Anything could be in this water, sharp glass, debris, chemicals as well. The scary part is some areas could see surge values at 10 to 15 feet. And this takes us up to 9. And look what it does. At this level, the first floors of structures are completely flooded, and there are few places that it is safe when the water rises this high.
What you distracted by? Because, baby, I'm so distracted. I am distracted by the fact that we are living in prophetic times. We're living out prophecies right now. The prophecy about the 4 horsemen and Revelations and stuff like that. Okay, that's gonna be in the stars. The 4 horsemen, you know, up in the stars and shit around like Wednesday, the 9th, right? A hurricane is supposed to make landfall in Florida on the same day.
It is 5:10. I can't sleep. Anxiety through the roof. So I don't know. The storm supposed to touch down, but Bayshore is already at waist level.
That's not good. The storm haven't even got close and it's already at waist level. So that is definitely a bad sign. That means when the storm do get here, all that's going to be extremely high and extremely flooded. The area I'm in, they told us to have enough food for 3 days, enough water for 3 days to survive without power. I will say if we go without power, I'm going to try to do like a barbecue maybe in my backyard. I do got a lot of water. I did put water in the freezer, so if my power go out, I could throw out in the sink to keep it like good and cold. I got bread, meat. Y'all, I'm so scared. My anxiety is up to here. I cannot sleep. I cannot rest. I'm overthinking. I am ready for this to be done and over. And then I think me seeing the reporter cry is like just top tier for me. I got 3 children. I do got their life jackets. We are ready to survive. And I'm just in mama mode right now, bitch. Like, I'm gonna have to make sure these kids is okay.
This applies to you, and you must leave this area now. You're running out of time to get to safety. Pasco is expecting dangerous storm surge and damaging winds, and it is not safe to stay in these homes along Pasco's coastline. If you have nowhere else to go, shelters are open.
Someone is loud. This is the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. You are in a mandatory evacuation zone. Please leave now. We anticipate
that is scary.
Significant storm surge and intense wind moving into the area as the storm impacts our community. The time to leave is now.
Damn, that's scary as fuck.
Mandatory evacuation has been ordered for your area. Please leave now.
We leaving.